Hi guys, I'm just eating my jelly and minding my own business. Mm, yum. And from my backyard, by the way. How are you guys doing? I see that King of Travels, Aymara, is in Argentina, the most racist South American country, the most colors. But anyways, I guess I was supposed to do a reaction because was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. I start work finding that Aymara is in Argentina. And then I opened up my books to teach my forensic science class, only to discover that the story that I was reading that day, as I asked the kids for the setting, it took place in Argentina because Argentina was actually the first country wherein fingerprinting was used to solve a murder trial. It happened to be, guys, this is so, I guess, cynical. I don't know. Like, I guess whatever spirit has brought me to this thing that, it was so coincidental. It was a mother who killed her two children. And then she said it was a Velasquez, I think, who did it when it wasn't. Velasquez was either the father of the kids or the the ex boyfriend, and so they checked the fingerprints. The fingerprint, and the mother was like, she never touched the kids, but they did find fingerprints on the kids, and they matched it with the fingerprints on the door. It matched, and they tried to match it with Velasquez. It didn't match, so it wasn't Velasquez's fingerprints, and that's when the mother sort of admitted that she had murdered her two kids, boy and girl, and the cause was so that she could be with another guy. I'm like, really? What's sickening? How sickening? I mean, anyways, that was the Argentina story that came up with fingerprinting, and forensic science. And then I go to work, and this lady who rarely ever talks to me, like, is like, how's the weather? They always ask me how's the weather when I get to work because the day shift is leaving and I'm arriving at the night shift or the evening shift. So I tell them that, it was nice and bright and sunny outside. It's just that it was too hot on Friday in Miami. So I was telling them that, and they're like, oh, you're used to it. You're from Haiti. I'm like, well, I didn't grow up in Haiti. I grew up in a cold place of New York. And then somebody else told the lady who was asking me that, well, you should be used to coldness because you're from Argentina. I'm like, what? The third strike of Argentina. So then she started telling me about, the experience of being Argentinian and everything. And I told her about the coincidence, from Aymara to the killer mother, and then now to my coworker also being from Argentina. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. The late Eva Peron, who was late since, what is it, like 50 years ago? Way before my time, Eva Peron existed, the wife of the president, Peron. Okay, so anyway, I'm not really here to do a reaction on Aymara. I noticed they were in a very humble looking place, and Rocio was dressed very humbly until now they have met now with the parents of Rocio Cabrera. So anyway, I am not going to do a reaction, and I am here actually to react on the passing, the tragedy, the tragic death of Michaela Deprince. So those of you who have been in the media, she was an American ballerina who was from Sierra Leone. And her story alone was very tragic. How she ended up being in America in the first place was because her parents had passed away from, attacks, war. It was war attacks in Sierra Leone. The mother had died after the father. And Michaela, I believe, had suffered burns. And anyway, she was adopted by the Deprince family, Elaine and her husband. apparently Elaine and her husband had also had tragedies in their family because their children was born with hemophilia. And those of you guys who are in laboratory science would know what hemophilia is. You know, you could have hemophilia A or B. One being because there were different factors that are deficient, be it factor 8 or factor 9, that are deficient. And you also know that hemophilia is something that ran through the royal family. Now, the mixed marriage of Meghan Markle and the Prince, Harry. So, that is helping them create genetic diversity so that hopefully the trait will no longer be passed on to anybody. A father can only pass on the trait to his son. No, 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 no. A father cannot pass on the trait. I'm sorry, because only to the daughter. He cannot. He can pass on the trait to the daughter, because it's an X-linked chromosome. All right. So, anyways, so these children were born with hemophilia, and the parents lost two of them, John and Karen, I believe, and there's a Michael, who I may have survived. So they lost two kids to AIDS, not to hemophilia, but to AIDS. So they started writing books, like about cryo. Cryo precipitates, or what is given, from blood extracts when you take the blood, and also sometimes they need blood transfusion so that they will be. Why do they need blood transfusion from hemophilia? I'm gonna do this very fast because I only have 12 minutes to do this video. Is because they will bleed to death, because the missing factors, you have 13 factors that you need, including other proteins like protein C and S that are involved in the coagulation process. So if you're missing anything, you may have difficulty with coagulation. If you are missing the anticoagulants, you will have difficulty with regulating coagulation, which also can cause strokes and things like that. So it's like people who, like, so because coagulation needs to be regulated, so that you are able to bleed for a certain point, but also that you can stop the bleeding. So coagulation stops bleeding. But when you're stopping bleeding without any purpose, then you end up with thrombosis, and that could also cause death. So anyway, these kids died because of AIDS, because they were getting blood transfusion so that they can have the coagulation factors. So those transfusions, because they were bleeding, so that could cause them to be anemic, and also they needed the cryo in order to be able to have the proper factors to coagulate. Healthy factors. To coagulate, so that they wouldn't bleed. But nonetheless, the kids died of AIDS. So I believe it was like three children who had died in the Prince family, and then back in 2021, I believe, the father or husband passed away. Not from COVID, but he passed away from, they claim, dementia. I don't know. Guys, you may have to do further research to find out exactly how the father passed away. But Elaine herself, Elaine Dupree, she caught my attention because she was a writer, and I write. I stopped writing a couple of years ago, but nonetheless, she was a writer, and interestingly enough, she wrote about this Sierra Leone girl who is the ballerina whom she had adopted, about the hope that she had created, the philanthropy that her family had done by adopting kids they adopted 9 children, by the way. All right. No, actually 8. They adopted 8. They had 3 of their own, and they adopted 8. So I was shocked when I heard that, Michaela passed. And of course, I wanted to know. I discovered it was this white family from New Jersey, who had adopted her, philanthropist, and, they paid for her schooling for her to become her dream of a ballerina. So how awesome. Only to be saddened to discover that the father had passed away around the time of COVID. And then, as I continued to do research, to discover that Elaine herself passed away the day after, because Michaela passed on September 9th, 2024, and Elaine Dupree passed on September 11, 9/11, by because she was supposed to go and do this procedure, and she pre-operation procedure, but she passed. And then they claim that she did not know about the demise of Michaela when she passed away. But of course, there are so many things that we cannot really find out from the media. You have to actually be there, interview the people to really know the truth. Did she not know about the passing of Michaela? And then I'm like, why are so many children of the Prince family dying? Of course, I asked this to Chat GPT, and Chat GPT told me, oh no, Elaine, the prince, is not known to be linked with children dying. She is a philanthropist. Never identified that this woman had kids who died of AIDS. So you have to ask ChatGPT the right questions at the right time. So this is a very tragic situation, and you're asking why. Like, why? Sometimes, like death, you ask why. I was just reading like about it's Kings, Second Kings verses, Second Kings 2 verses 23 to 24. I think there was a prophet Elijah or something, who was walking somewhere after he had done some works of God, and some kids were like, get out of here, bald head, get out of here, bald head. And he cussed the kids, he cursed them for their misbehavior. And immediately it tells you in that the like bears, bears came out and devoured those kids, like 47 of the kids that they devoured. I am not saying anything, I'm just saying there's something weird, like something mysterious about Michaela. The prince dies on September 10, and then Elaine Deprince dies on September 11th. I'm like, and supposedly they didn't know about the same the passing of each other. It makes no sense. Well, at least Elaine didn't know about that of Michaela. That doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, there may be things that she may have known, but of course we, the public, will not be told. Sort of like I was asking some questions about Kamala Harris, because of the situation in Haiti, because Haiti is set for downfall with the rise of Kamala. And ChatGPT was like, this is illegal, you can't ask me questions like that. I'm like, well, I have to question the character of the person who's going to be the leader, and where Jamaica is already in Haiti right now. Is so